Jina langu ni Charles Maina Kamau. Niliumia 1979 July. Nikapata ajali on Thika Road. Kaanguka nikatupwa nje, nikawa na spinal injury T8 kulingana vile daktari aliniambia.
My name is Rosemary Wanjiru Kungu and I'm a salon manager. I was hit by a matatu as I tried to cross the road.
My name is Mwaura Gari. I have been a paraplegic for the last 10 years, and my condition came about from a carjacking incident. The thugs surrounded my car. The person who was on this side of the car actually maybe panicked, and he shot me through the window.
My name is Richard Bukachi Okola, and I'm a paraplegic. I was working in an agricultural engineering firm, and we were carrying some weight with my colleague, and we was on the stairs. So I was on the base of the stairs, and as we were moving down, I actually lost my footing. And the weight that we were carrying landed on me, and I crashed on the stairs with that.
My name is Mohib Nurani. I'm a paraplegic. I had a cyst in my spinal cord. The doctors removed it, but my post-operative period was totally disastrous. And while I went walking in the theater, but came out on a wheelchair.
%60 of the spinal injured patients are as a result of road traffic accidents. And this is particularly so from matatu crashes. 20% of the victims were as a result of falls from heights. Then we found that 15% are as a result of gunshots and stab wounds. And a small percentage, 5%, are as a result of miscellaneous causes.
Kenyan Paraplegic Organization, KBO, was founded in the year 2004. We are the only organization dealing with issues with spinal cord injuries within East Africa. KBO's mission is to give people living with spinal cord injuries the life of dignity so that they can go back to the society and live a meaningful life, not being a burden to anybody. We have come up with programs that are tailor-made to improve their independence, give people living with spinal cord injuries hope in life, and generally encourage them to lead a positive life.
Kenya is a signatory to the Human Rights Charter. It is important that a paraplegic feels that he is playing his part in the national development. It is important for this person to feel proud to be Kenyan, like anybody else who is in Kenya.
For the last 9 years, I haven't moved from this house. The last time I moved here was on 2nd, when I begged some people to take me to the voting card to collect a voting card because I want to participate in national activities. I'm a senior citizen, I'm a Kenyan, and I'm very patriotic. And everything taking place in Kenya, I'm a part and parcel of it.
We have formed this KPO to assist people with disabilities, buying wheelchairs, buying various other products, because people with disabilities have very many needs. If you see a person on a wheelchair, it doesn't mean it's just on a wheelchair and he's to be moved on the wheelchair. But if you look into his problems, you see there's so many expenses, and in KPO we are trying to assist them. In any way we can make the person on the wheelchair comfortable and more productive.
KPO helped me a great deal because they have what is called income generating activities. And this is a package they give, like when your patients are being cancelled, there's the psychological support, then there's economic empowerment. Through KPO, Safaricom gave some donation. Actually, KPO sourced for this donation, and they had telephone booths where people could go and sell airtime and give phone services. I was the first beneficiary ever. So I was the first patient to be cancelled, and I was the first beneficiary also to get this package of the booth and the telephone and a credit of 10,000 shillings to start the job, and that really helped me because it helped me to come out because I was in the house now, and I cannot thank KPO enough for this. I hope they do more of this.
Hakuna kitu ingine juu ya hapo walinisaidia naye. Nilijaribu kuishi kama normal person, lakini ilikuwa ni ngumu. Sababu naenda kwa watu kuji kwako, unajaribu kwenda kwa mtu mfikii. Saa ingine unataka kwenda kanisa, huwezi kwenda. Maisha ilikuwa ngumu, lakini eventually nilienda pole pole, nikavumilia mpaka mwishowe nikawa part of that life. Ile changamoto iliyoko kubwa sana ni kukataliwa na watu. Hakuna mtu anataka kuwa kampuni na wewe. Unakuwa all alone, isolation, a big problem. Big problem.
In societies in Africa generally, when you are disabled, you are placed in a particular sector of life. They condemn you to poverty and a forgotten life. So unless you come out strongly and speak out and show that you can do something for yourself, people will forget you.
We did a research when we started the KPO about 6 years ago. And we found that most of the people who were living in the hospitals in this condition were actually dying within 3-4 years after that. And these people are not dying of very serious ailments. They were dying of very minor ailments, like bed sores and what have you, which are manageable. And these come about because they didn't get proper information when they were leaving the hospital, how to live outside there.
The society needs to be sensitized to realize that persons with disability and paraplegics are not cast or are not in this situation because they are lesser people. And one thing we do in our counseling sessions is to give the skills to the paraplegic to be the advocate themselves, starting from their family and to the world around them. In that way, they are able to assert themselves and educate the society about what paraplegia is about and how they can be supported and how they can fit into the society.
After the accident, I was referred to Kenyatta National Hospital because they told me I'd actually suffered a spinal injury, and I was there for a period of 6 months. Within the 6 months, I was going through some small physiotherapy, and they were trying to stabilize me because my spine had been injured, so they did a surgery. And after staying there for 6 months, I was discharged. When I went home, my situation did not become any better, so I went back to hospital. This is Kenyatta again, for another 2 months. When I was admitted, the doctor said the only thing they can do is to put me on traction, where they put some weight on my legs for about 1.5 months. It didn't work. And I kept on having still bad spasms. So I was transferred to Nairobi Hospital, where I had another surgery and removed some material on my spine. And then I was discharged and went home, but still on a wheelchair. And then, because it was difficult to get admission to the spinal injury hospital, I stayed home for almost a year. My emotional, psychological reaction was, I could say now, if I look back, very negative, because I, first of all, did not understand myself. Nobody had explained to me beyond the medical things what is happening to me. So it's like I was thrown in a sea of confusion, trying to find out. It's like I've been thrown to the deep end of a swimming pool, and I've never swum before. You can picture how difficult that was. So trying to rediscover myself, what had happened to me and what was going on with me, because 1 minute you're walking, the other minute you're not walking. So what is all this happening? From me, as coming from a Christian background, some people said maybe I was a sinner. God was punishing me, which I don't believe so. And moving back and forth, I was afraid of death. I knew, and I was afraid to be judged because I knew sitting on a wheelchair, being a disabled person in our culture, is like you have been condemned to death, to oblivion, because it's a taboo It's something that is not acceptable in the culture. So at the cultural problem, how is the society going to take me? I had the spiritual problem. Did I wrong God? I had the challenge of, am I going to be a beggar? Because disability is connected with begging in this society of ours. How was I going to feed my children? And all this brought a lot of confusion. And because I did not understand what was going through me, I sank into depression. And the way they dealt with me in the hospital, if they were dealing with me with the psychological aspect, then I would not have sunk into depression. I believe so. So you need to be helped to come up. You need to be helped to understand what is going on in your body, in your mind. And the approach, I think, lacked. So I feel like if there were basic counseling skills applied to the nurses, to the doctors, even the person registering, that would do a great deal. I think 2005 is when I had counseling with under KPO. But once I was counseled, which was a process, I started putting value on myself. So after counseling, it's like a journey that I had started. And I must say, if I didn't go through counseling, thanks to KPO, maybe I would be dead by now, because I know people who have died of depression. Some of these things could be prevented, especially on the issue of depression, because if I'm psychologically and emotionally healthy, then I'm able to do physiotherapy, I'm able to try and eat well, I'm able to take care of myself, I'm able even to go for training. Like I went for training when I was on the wheelchair, because I'd also gotten counseling, so it opened up my mind. And I went and sat in class just like everybody else, did my notes, did my research, and I passed very well. You can see even that shows I'm one of the best students in the school, which means when you're counseled and you're out of depression, then you can even be of more value than you were before, because I've been able to do more things. I've been able to be a better father. I've been able to earn money through counseling. At the moment, I've volunteered in the same organization for 4 years, counseling my peers. And that makes me feel very good that I've changed one life, so that nobody else is going to the grave because they were not able to be given the psychological support.
Don't stop. Slowly down.
One of the major problems that the spinal injured patients experience is that we have only one hospital that deals with people with spinal injuries, and that is the National Spinal Injury Hospital, whose catchment area serves East, Central, and Southern Africa. The capacity of the National Spinal Injury Hospital is only 40 beds, and yet the people whom we have been having on the waiting list was twice, sometimes thrice, the number of the capacity of the hospital. So they would actually be put on a waiting list. And this actually tended to aggravate the symptoms of the patients, because they would be left lying in one of the general hospitals waiting for their turn to be admitted to the National Spinal Injury Hospital. And whenever they would be discharged without going through the rehabilitation process, they would die.
One of the things we realized is the government has no capacity to provide the healthy care for our members. And through our strategic plan, we came up with an idea of finding an alternative center. The center we want to construct will be a one-stop center. We'll have a minimal theater facilities, we'll have physiotherapy, we'll have counseling unit, we'll have occupational therapy, we'll have all those things that encompass a rehabilitation process. And this is not just for people with spinal cord injuries, but even people who are traumatized by other conditions.
And bend. Yes, that's right. Bend.
The rehabilitation center that we want to construct, according to our architects, is going to cost us over 250 million Kenya shillings. We would like to reach out to 1 million people, 1 million Kenyans. And we are appealing to them just to give us a minimum of 100 shillings. Then we will be able to raise about 100 million. And we are hoping that those who will give us 100 shillings will be generous enough to give us even 200 or even more.
The plan we have at the moment for the rehabilitation center, which we are going to do, is about 100, 150 beds. Those are quite many, but the size is not the only thing which is going to be different. What we want different is the approach. You can actually have a small unit, but because you are able to turn people around quickly by proper counseling, people are then confident to go home. You release the beds faster.
Shida iliyoko, hakuna mtu anajua watu wako na spinal injury wako wapi. Kwa mfano kama mimi nimekaa for the last 27 years bila kuona mtu ona wheelchair. Nilikuwa ndani msituni huko. Ona one wheelchair nilikaa naye for 36 years. Mtu yeyote ule yuko na uwezo asaidie KPO. Sababu KPO ndio center ile inaelewa maneno yote. Ni ngumu kwenda kwa mtu anisaidie, lakini ni rahisi kwenda kwa KPO.
At the moment, we are targeting the parastatals, the big companies in Kenya, and every individual to help it with at least even 100 shillings. We are also soliciting support from the international community, some organizations, some NGOs to assist us to reach our goal.
Royal Media Services studied the plan that KPO rolled out on the rehabilitation center, and we felt it is very, very important for us to partner with them on this very, very noble venture. It is going to help many Kenyans. Right now, I know very many Kenyans living with disabilities are hiding or they are being hidden. But once a rehabilitation center and trauma center comes up, you will see quite a number of people coming forth and saying, please help my person or help me. I need to get on with life. I need to be integrated back into society. So I am appealing to all corporates. This is not something that KPO can do on its own. It's actually quite a major feat. You and I need to pool our resources together and support KPO in this noble venture.
I support KPO because it is a chance to give people a new lease of life. People who have been devastated with injuries and they need counseling, they need to be rehabilitated, you have to make their limbs function again, and all this has to be done. And I think KPO is the only organization which can undertake this.
Safaricom Foundation has pledged to commit 10 million shillings to the rehabilitation centre, and that's just a small amount of the money that they need. We support them for several reasons. Firstly, we believe that the work they do is extremely good. Also, from a governance perspective, and that's very important for Safaricom Foundation, from a governance perspective, we know that the money is used very, very well, and it goes to the members, it goes for the benefit of the members, and not into other areas. So I think it is really important that Kenyans, that Kenyan companies, Kenyan corporates, Kenyan foundations should also follow Safaricom Foundation's leadership here. And I would therefore say really help the KPO.
When we have this center, the paraplegic will be better placed to go back to society, because every aspect of their lives will have been dealt with. They'll have accepted themselves. They will have the muscles they need to move their wheelchairs. They will have counseling that enables them to decide whether I go back to my work or whether I start my own business. They'll be empowered people. Therefore, there will be people that give back to the society other than where they are at, where they need support all the time.
The number of people suffering from spinal cord injury has increased, and therefore definitely there is a need to have a rehabilitation unit. And these services will definitely be able to benefit these patients, because some of them are so poor to the extent that they may not be able to afford the private facilities that may be available. These services are important, and actually they need to be there not tomorrow but yesterday.
From the time when you did the launching is when I can say I came face to face to know the actual tribulation of the people who have suffered spinal cord injuries. And I saw the number, and I empathized a lot, particularly with the people, but also with their families. If we all put our heads together and we all work towards this, a lot can be done to alleviate the suffering of these people.
I think Kenyans are loving people, and Kenyans love giving. If there's one thing that Kenyans can give and they will never be let down, is to try and put hope to people with spinal cord issues, trying to tell them that there's life after spinal cord injury. It's not the end of the world. They can start it all over again, and this is my motto: it's never too late. You can always start again. If there's one place that you can actually put your money, put your blood, put anything to add life to somebody, this is the place where you can give somebody hope. Somebody who is hopeless, somebody who is traumatized, somebody who is depressed. Imagine bringing life out of death. I think this is valueless, you know.